So I'd like to start my speech off with a simple question. How many of us here know how to solve a math problem or how to label a plant cell? Well, I would assume most of us here. But if I were to ask how many of us save a sum of money each day consistently, know how budgeting works, or know how to manage your own money? Well, the truth is, in school, we learn subjects such as science, English, or maths. But don't get me wrong, those are all very important subjects. But hardly anyone ever teaches us how to save or budget our money from an early age, even when we have to grow up and do it every single day of our adult lives. That is why today I want to talk to you about a subject that holds the most influence in our future and is hardly ever talked about enough. I want to talk to you about financial literacy. So, what is financial literacy? Financial literacy is the ability to learn and manage your own money. It includes simple tasks such as budgeting and saving your money. In simpler terms, it's about learning the ways in which money works and ways to make it work well in your favor. So the truth is, financial literacy is actually treated as a problem for adults only something we have to worry about once we have graduated or once we have found our real job in the real world. But at that point, it might already be too late. The less you know about money, the more it can hurt you. But now you might be thinking, well, why do I have to learn about financial literacy? I'm only a teenager, right? Well, yeah, that was my initial reaction too, back when my parents introduced me to this topic a few years ago. But now I've started to realize that the faster you learn about money, the more you are in control of your own future. Just small habits we start to build now as teens can have major outcomes later on. So picture this. Person X, he has a part-time job and he earns about $500 a week. But after that week, he chooses to spend his money on buying clothes, food, and going out with his friends. He thought it was a good choice at that moment, but after that month, he would be left with nothing. Now let's take a look at another person, person Y. Person Y has the same job, earns the same income, and is the same age as person X. But she chooses to follow a simple plan that she has laid out instead. So 50% she would spend, 30% she would save, and keep 20% on hold. And after several months of saving, she has managed to buy a laptop that she has always wanted, without relying on her friends or family, but relying on her own saving habits instead. See, these are examples of two people, same age, same job, same income, but two completely different outcomes. So if we take a look back at our grandparents, even with their average incomes, they have managed to invest in property, raise a household of 4 to 5 kids. But these days, it's considered to be a burden just to raise a small family or even have your own house, due to our own incompetence of managing money. Well, talking about saving may seem easy, but in the world we live in today, it has become 100 times harder. With our access to technology, we are constantly being exposed to advertisements and sales online. Everybody is just one tap away from spending, whether it's on food, on clothes, or even streaming services. We are all spending much more than we realize. Technology has also brought on social media. Social media creates this certain image for people to want to have a rich lifestyle. So most people tend to spend their time, energy on building their social image instead, and rather than focusing on their own financial security. This creates a very big problem since most of the things we see online aren't real and are mostly made up. According to the FINRA Investor Education Foundation in the US, it can be seen that people aged 18 to 34 are suffering from the most debt. They are stuck in a trap where they can only pay a minimum amount each month. And with interest rates continuing to rise, their debt becomes impossible to escape. But, well, that's in the US. But actually it's also happening here in Thailand. In Bangkok, 30% of the Thai workforce have already carried personal debt from their saving and spending and buying loans that they can't afford. And this has created a very negative impact to those people. And financial literacy actually proves to be very critical knowledge in these crucial situations. So what can financial literacy actually do for you? So the most important thing is that financial literacy gives you own control of your own money. You would know how much you spent, why you spent it, and what you have spent it on. And the second thing is that it helps you plan early for the future. Whether things go good or bad, you would easily be able to adapt to those changes without any worry. And back to the scenario of person Y that I have mentioned, it would help you reach your own goals. Whether it's as small as just buying a laptop to even as big as starting your own small business, it gives you a quicker head start than others. And the last thing is that it helps you become more independent as a person, as you wouldn't have to rely on your friends or family, but relying on building your own saving habits instead. Trust me, you don't need to be a finance expert to learn about these methods. Even just reading articles, watching videos, or reading books online could help you expose yourself to these methods. And additionally, parents who want to teach their kids about learning how to save and exposing them to these could also set up small activities. Since they are a very big influence in our early years, kids tend to have a certain mindset just because of them. So they could set up a first activity, such as giving their child pocket money each week. They could give around $100 and give their child rewards or prizes based on the amount they have saved. For example, if their child saves $20, $30, $40, or $50, the rewards could go up based on the amount that they have saved. Another very good activity is maybe taking your child to the bank to deposit some money. You could take your child through each step from start to finish and explain the importance of each step, such as signing forms and just depositing money. So I know that many of us here might want to be engineers, artists, or even lawyers in the future. But no matter how much money you or I make in the future, what's really important is how we manage it. Trust me, financial literacy is a crucial skill that we can all learn starting from today. So I want to challenge you. Learn about how money works, think twice before you spend, and start saving early for the future. Because ultimately, that is the power of financial literacy. Thank you.